months and months, and it's been terrible.
Oh my God.
I have hated it, but it's back and it's in full swing. And the NBA is playing, and the NFL is playing, and soccer and baseball, and it's all going, and it's amazing. I love it. How was not watching sports for 6 months?
Dude, it about killed me. I mean, it about sent me over the edge. I mean, there's nothing on TV, and you don't realize how much sports you really watch until push comes to shove. You're sitting at home. You're like, hey, let's turn on the game. And then you realize the NBA is not playing.
To be honest, like TV for me is only used for sports. Like other than that, I'll watch Netflix. I'll watch like shows and movies on stuff like that. But I will not watch TV other than for live.
So I'll actually watch Hulu. That's kind of my thing. And I'll watch some TV shows on there every now and then, but it's very rare that I actually will watch something. So if I'm watching something, it's sports. I mean, 9 out of 10 times.
Sports, so.
They do have live sports, but I don't watch it on there.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Well,
ESPN's still better.
Let's go ahead and get into it. So the NBA is in full swing, obviously the bubble, and we could go back all the way, but I want to go ahead and start where we're at, which is basically now in the conference finals. We got the Lakers against the Nuggets, which not a lot of people predicted. I know neither of us predicted that.
Not a chance.
And then the Heat on the Celtics. So first, before we go into like who's going into the finals and what matchup that's going to be, go ahead and what do you think about the Clippers losing in the second round?
You know, I would like to say I'm surprised because I am surprised. But I will say, too, Doc Rivers, great coach, but he has a record of blowing 3-1 leads in the finals. So I don't know if you can go so much and start blaming Kawhi, which I think there is a lot of blame there. He only scored 2 points in the fourth quarter?
In the second half.
In the second half, okay.
0 points in the fourth.
It's unbelievable. So that's a very poor performance, especially from somebody that I know a lot of analysts have been saying, hey, that's one of the top 3 best players and put him on the GOAT list. Man, a GOAT doesn't blow a 3-1 lead, and a GOAT doesn't score 2 points in the second half when his team needs them, period. No exceptions. And let's be honest, did they stop Jamal Murray or Jokic? No. Jokic, sorry. They didn't stop either one. Not a chance. And the thing about that is, who was guarding them?
What's interesting to me is kind of throughout the playoffs and over the last year, honestly, you won't see Kawhi guarding the best player. The so-called best defender in the
glove, right?
Never will guard the best player. And it's interesting to me, and they say now he's more devoted to the offensive end, and I get that. If you're going to give more offense, you're probably going to give less defense.
Sure.
But I want it to be noted that if you're going to try less, you can't hold that mantle as the best defensive player in the world or the best two-way player in the world if you're not even playing defense on the best player.
Well, and then keep in mind, too, Kawhi has some other defensive dogs on his team, right? I mean, that was like the Clippers thing going into the season. Man, we got the dogs. It's not even like we have the most skilled players. They're not even arguing that. They just think they have the dog to beat everybody. And what do they lose to? They lose to a young Nuggets team. Zero playoff experience, like none, and not even finals or Western Conference Finals, but zero playoff experience. And I mean, come on, man, you blow a 3-1 lead to that team because you can't play defense and score in the second half.
I will say he definitely needs to be taken out of the best player in the world conversation. He's not better than LeBron. He's not better than Giannis.
No.
He's not better than Kevin Durant when healthy.
Do you think that they're going to get rid of Doc Rivers? Because I've heard that thrown around.
I have heard that, and to be honest, I do, and I don't actually think it's his fault. Yes, it is a crazy stat that out of 13 all-time 3-1 leads blown, Doc Rivers now has 3 of them.
Yeah.
3 out of 13 all-time. That's crazy. But I really do think this doesn't fall on him as much as it actually falls on the star players in Kawhi and Paul George, who completely disappeared.
Well, let's be honest. I've talked about this for over a year now. Playoff Paul, bro. Playoff Paul. Cannot play in the playoffs. He never did with the Thunder. He never did with Indiana. And what do you know? He didn't play that way with the Clippers, man. I don't think he's a playoff player.
Indiana. He got to the
man.
He lost to Miami.
He wasn't getting to a Western Conference Finals.
He got to the Eastern Conference Finals against LeBron.
Yeah, but if you put him on the other side of the league, there's no way he gets to the finals consistently.
He definitely has disappeared.
I mean, and in that time when LeBron was going to the Eastern Conference Finals, we used to joke around because who's he playing until he gets to the final? Nobody, and that included Paul George.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly disappointing. And before we get into what the finals is actually going to be, I just want to say that I think it's stupid the narrative that LeBron's ring may not count now that he's playing.
I agree.
Now that he's not playing the Clippers, and now that he's not playing the Bucks in the finals. Because he's playing the Nuggets and then the Heat, or Nuggets and then the Celtics, it's did it really count? That's dumb.
I agree. That is very stupid, which is rare that me and you tend to agree on this kind of stuff. But I think it's dumb. I think LeBron, if he gets a ring this year, I think it should count like any other year. I get the fact that they were off for a couple months, but at the end of the day, a ring is a ring. He still had to play some of the best players in the world. And everyone had fair treatment on
it. It's not like some teams took break and some didn't.
Exactly.
Everyone had fair treatment. So
well, and then when they got to the bubble, everybody pretty much was living and breathing basketball. Yeah. Now, I understand they want to get out and they want to play, and some players went and did that and got kind of kicked out for a minute. But at the end of the day, you have the same treatment as every other team. You got to show up to play.
Yeah.
And Kawhi, Giannis didn't show up to play. Neither did their teams, and LeBron's still in it. And, I have heard that some of these players and some of these teams, like it might be the easiest route LeBron's had to a championship, but let's be honest, he still had to win games.
Yeah, he did. Anyway, moving on to what the NBA Finals will actually look like. In my opinion, the Lakers will somewhat easily handle the Nuggets, and
I agree.
I believe that because the Lakers have been dealing with good scoring guards the entire playoffs. First, they dealt with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, and then they dealt with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. And those are two better backcourts than like Jamal Murray alone. So
yeah,
I will say they're pretty practiced, and they won in 5 games both times of how to guard a point guard, shooting guard, scoring type. And then secondly, Jokic, who is arguably the best player on that team, probably the best player on that team.
For sure.
That's actually where the Lakers are the most strong in their post defense. They have Anthony Davis, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, and putting Anthony Davis on Jokic and then having Jokic guard Anthony Davis, that bodes well in the Lakers' favor every time.
Oh yeah. Well, Anthony Davis is so much bigger than Jokic, and I understand like they're the same height. I get that, but muscle wise, man, I think AD is going to dominate the paint.
He should
against the Jokic.
I mean, Jokic is a terrible defender.
I mean, if you're the Lakers, what's your strategy coming into this game?
I'll feed LeBron every time and have him drive at Jokic and then feed it to Anthony Davis in the post and have him back down on Jokic.
I mean, we know that Jamal Murray's not guarding LeBron.
No.
I mean, so who on their team is
Jeremy
equipped
Grant?
And listen, Jeremy Grant played on the Thunder, my favorite team. I love the guy to death. He's not equipped to guard LeBron.
He's not. I mean, very few people are.
No, I mean, he doesn't have the size. I don't think he has the defensive skill or ability to be able to guard LeBron. So I think you're right. I think you give it to LeBron, let him drive. I think LeBron, once they start collapsing on LeBron, it's going to be Anthony Davis's time to shine. And as long as he didn't do anything stupid, just gets the simple shots, I think the Lakers get a win in 5.
Yeah. No, I agree. In 5. And then on the other side of the bracket, Heat Celtics. I really do think, and even before the Heat won the first game, I was going to give this one to the Heat.
Yeah, so deep down inside, I hope the Heat win. I actually like Tyler Hero a lot, and I would like to see Jimmy Butler, by the way, play in a championship eventually. So if he can get past this round and to the finals and then win the Eastern Conference Finals and go to the championship, I would be absolutely thrilled for that guy. Just where he's come from in life, I think it'd be a cool story.
Yeah.
But don't leave out my boy Jason Tatum.
Okay.
I love Jason Tatum, man. I think he's an exciting young player. I think he's got a lot of potential, a lot of talent. I think what you're going to see is they're going to compete really well with the Heat. I think you're looking at a Game 6, Game 7, but I'm thinking Celtics win.
Wow. I mean, I would love to see the Celtics. I would love to see a Lakers-Celtics finals again. That would be pretty legendary.
Yep.
But I would say the grit and grind of the Heat and the defensive mindedness and the fact that they are an amazing 3-point shooting team with those guys like Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. I mean, and they have Bam Adebayo in the post. I mean, they're honestly they're pretty well rounded. Like they got 3-point shooters, they got mid-range shooters. They're a solid defensive team.
Yeah. Outside of Jimmy Butler, they're pretty young too. So they've got some upside and some potential to their growth even past this season. Right. Whereas I think they have more potential to be better than the Celtics do in the future by far. I don't think it's close, but I think the Celtics win in Game 7.
Okay, so then do you think, let's say Celtics go on to the finals, who's taking the finals?
Oh, LeBron wins.
LeBron wins either way.
100%.
Whether it's Heat or Celtics, LeBron takes his 4th ring.
Yeah, I think he does. LeBron, I think, wins. I've been saying this since last year, since before the closing. I know you were a big Giannis guy and Milwaukee winning it, but I've been saying it. LeBron's going to win his next ring. And not only that, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, if they play the Celtics, LeBron wins in 4. He's going to sweep in the finals. is going to sweep in the finals.
Okay.
And then that adds to the legendariness of the ring that he gets during the COVID season. Because if he can sweep him, period, you can't deny his ring. Oh, he didn't play anybody. Man, he swept him. Like, that's impressive. That very rarely happens in the finals.
Yep.
And the Celtics are, I think, in my opinion, a better team as far as age-wise and things like that to actually compete with LeBron. So I think it's more of a validity to his ring.